Hi, welcome to Is It a Film? A podcast that critiques and memes film and asks one very important question. Is it a film? As per usual with these reviews, these shows, these podcast episodes, spoilers for everything. Just all the spoilers. I'm your host, Jonathan, a.k.a. Bill Reeser, and I'm joined by my Everton of co-host, my best friend, my pal, my amigo, my droog,
I think
Vincent.
you mean your Bilst friend.
My Bilst friend. My pal, my amigo, my droog, my Bill, Vincent.
A.K.A. Bill Vincent.
No, Bill Short.
Bill, my last name isn't Short. It's Vincent. It's
Is
Vincent.
it? It's Vincent.
Vincent.
It's
Vincent.
like Mario.
Yeah.
Luigi Mario.
Yeah. Okay, can we just discuss that Luigi Mario? Like, what meth were they smoking?
When they came up with
Yeah.
making Mario's last name Mario.
No, Luigi Mario. At least like make up like stepbrothers if you're gonna have the last name be Mario.
Well, see, because he was Mario, and then they made him Luigi Mario. So, like, the last name is Mario, but the first name is still Mario for Mario.
Why?
So Luigi's first name is Luigi. They just go by first names, but their last name is also Mario.
Why?
That's why they're the Super Mario Brothers.
I know. But what meth were they smoking when they came up with that?
Oh, none. Cocaine. It was the 80s.
Was it the 80s? I thought it was early 90s.
Still cocaine.
Still cocaine. Getting off the relapse of
Yeah.
cocaine, moving on to black tar heroin.
Yeah, they're in the transition process from cocaine to doing meth and heroin.
Moving past that, this is episode 12 of Is It a Film? An episode we would like to call Too Many Bills.
Too many bills. Too many bills.
Today we're covering the 1990 film Brain Dead. And why are we covering Brain Dead, Jonathan?
Because our friend Boone wanted us to.
And we really appreciate Boone, and we really like him a lot. He's a good guy.
He's a good guy.
He's a good guy. He's a good filmmaker, and we wanted to do it. You can also make us review a film like we are for Boone by donating $20 to our Patreon at patreon.com/The Anthony and Todd Show. And we'll review a film of your choosing. We'll be forced to do it. And if it's really bad, I'll just make Jonathan do it alone.
That sounds about right. Look, last night I subjected myself to Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. I can put myself through anything.
Why?
I don't know. It was just there, and I was like, I've never seen this.
Was it on like television?
No, I had the Blu-ray.
That's worse.
Yeah, it is. I have a Blu-ray for everything.
I don't think it's a good thing. I think it's just called manic depression.
Yeah. But yeah, so I had it, so I watched it. It was bad. It was like shockingly entertaining, but it was bad.
I assume it would be. Today we're going to be giving you guys a basic ass intro and telling you why it's important. We're going to give you the Wikipedia plot summary. We're going to go over some IMDb Bill reviews, and then we're going to be giving you guys a terrible last segment. So, what is the 1990 film Brain Dead? Well, what's the clickbait title first?
Do you want to do how many plot twists can one film have?
I think that's a good one, but I also think Goosebumps for adults is another good one, because that's what I view this film as.
Isn't that just Goosebumps still? That fucking doll, the fucking marionette one, still scares the shit out of me.
Does it?
Yeah.
I
don't like marionettes though, so.
I'm kind of adjusted because my friend Seymour has all those marionettes.
Seymour's house
Seymour's house
shit
is
out of me.
Scary. It was made in like the 70s and 80s.
On cocaine.
No, his parents just are stuck in that decade, so
Oh.
we just get like a lot of lead painting on the walls. And a bunch of marionettes and creepy dolls and memorabilia. That's just weird. It doesn't make any sense. So yeah, too many plot twists. Is that what we're going with?
Or how many plot twists can one film have? Something like that.
Yeah, that's good. Well, Brain Dead is a 1999 psychological horror film. It's directed by Adam Simon, whose only other notable credit is that he wrote The Haunting in Connecticut, which I haven't seen. I just know it's like a beard tier horror film.
Yeah.
It stars Bill Pullman and Bill Paxton.
We got the two big bills.
And then George, which can be shortened to Bill, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's how that works. It's also Bill Kennedy.
Bill Kennedy, yeah. And in the late 1980s, Julia Corman got summer interns to go through several hundred old scripts. The best one they discovered was written by Charles Beaumont for Roger Corman in the 1960s. And director Adam Simon liked it and updated it from modern times, even though this looks like it was shot in the 70s.
Yeah.
It was made in the 90s. The beginning of the 90s, and it looks like it was made in the 70s for like a TV movie.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works. Even the sound sounds like it was made for a TV movie.
Everything is just so dated for a date that it wasn't even made in. Imagine if we made like a movie today that had like the really bad CGI of like the 90s.
Yeah.
Which we still do. It's called a lot of movies.
Justice League.
Yeah, Justice League.
And Black Panther.
But we also, like, everybody was wearing, like, black leather trench coats and just had, like, all of the most, like, 90s themes possible. But we made it today. That's what this movie looks like.
It looks
like
the
90s and the 70s.
But here's the bad thing, though. It's really good in a fun way.
So entertaining.
It's good. Okay, so the sound of this is just... The sound of this movie just sucks.
Yeah, the sound design's not great.
It's. I think you said it was too much ambient noise.
Yeah, they clearly didn't try to separate the voices from the area noise when they recorded it. And so they're on location noise, and I guess they just gave up trying. And instead of just doing any of the techniques you could, just like, well, we have this location noise that's kind of loud. Let's just put it over everything.
And there's some notable scenes where the ADR, where people have their back turned to the camera, and their head bouncing does not match out with what they're saying.
No.
I think it was with Bill Paxton that I noticed that at first. It's just like sometimes the sound is very off.
Yeah.
And it just like sometimes they're way too close to the mic, and it just like you feel it. Like
Bill Paxton did such a weird performance in this movie.
He's
like every step of the way, you can't tell if you're supposed to like him or fear him, if he's trying to be like just goofy or just downright creepy, no matter what part of the movie he's in.
He reminds me, like, this whole entire thing reminds me of one Goosebumps, because that campiness and cheesy factor, and the fact that it's just this absurd twist-filled sci-fi, like just
this is the movie where M. Night Shyamalan watched to learn how to write.
Right, yeah. Put that plane to the cannon. I don't know, what was M. Night Shyamalan's earliest movie? One was Unbreakable, was that his first one?
The Sixth Sense, which was 90s, but after 1990, I think. So,
okay.
Yeah, if it's, the timeline works. The timeline works.
We're in the best timeline. So yeah, I don't know. It has this weird like Twin Peaks like acting where it's just really uncanny. It's very theater like, so it's supposed to be over dramatic.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be campy. Not to say that I think this film intended it to be that way.
Yeah, there's like the clear difference between like Twin Peaks, where it's like kind of making fun of and paying homage to like
soap
operas and that type of acting, in order to like, because of the world that they put it in, it's like a soap opera-esque, but then it like tears away the like layers of it to reveal the nightmare surrealist undertones. And then this one just feels like they just directed it like you would a soap opera.
Yeah, it just is the soap opera.
Yeah.
So like everything's overdrawn out, but I do think Bill Paxton reminds me of Ray Wise. I think that comparison can be made.
That's a fair comparison.
It's just that creepy factor and that uncanniness where I'm just like, every time he's on the screen, I'm just a little bit creeped out by him. Even when he's not even like doing anything bad, he's just like kind of there. I'm just like, yeah, there's just something unsettling about you. Just get off the screen.
It's game over, man.
So there's a cool little Easter egg in this where Dr. Rex Martin mentioned that he went to Miskatonic University, which is the college where Reanimator takes place.
Yep.
That I didn't have any other place to put that, so I'm just putting it right here in the intro because I think that's the only other notable thing that should be mentioned. Why is this film important besides Boone making us watch it? Is it just because it's super fun and uncanny?
I mean, it's fun. It's uncanny. God damn it, you and your phone.
It's good. I got a message from Merge Records. We're good. We're in the money.
We're in the money?
We're not. Just Bandcamp notification.
Oh.
We're not in the money.
Damn it.
I just got poor, I think.
God damn it. Yeah, so like it's fun. It's a really fun movie. It's fun to watch. It's kind of the great little throwback to like the 70s and 80s horror films like Reanimator and From Beyond and those type of things, even if it's not necessarily intended to be.
That's it.
And other than that, yeah, it's fun. It has a lot. I think it introduced a lot of like the weird fake out twists to cinema that people would then overuse somehow more than this film overused them.
This film overdoes it, but it's spectacular how
Yeah.
it does. It's just like, no, I'm not gonna have one or two twists. I'm gonna have every
I'm gonna
fucking
have
twist.
every twist, sometimes using the same twist multiple times, sometimes within the same scene.
To the point where you're just like, I don't know what's happening, but I just want it to go deeper.
Yeah, you just want it to keep getting fucking crazier. Because
Did you happen by chance to keep a record of all the twists, like you kept a record of all the dreams in what was it? Forbidden Room?
No.
Damn it, that would have been a great.
Forbidden Room like almost demanded that more because of what it is. It's more like of an intellectual art piece. This I was just like, I'm along for the ride. I don't give a fuck.
There's just so many twists to be counted. I wanted to know what like the final twist count was. I wish.
Let's see if I can just remember all of them.
So we're gonna have to go through the Wikipedia summary,
you
but
have the initial dream. You have the car accident, which then you have the fake dream, but then the next dream after that dream. Then you have
we haven't gone over Wikipedia, so a lot of people don't even know what you're talking about.
yeah. Let's just go over Wikipedia, and then
Which is really short. There isn't a lot here.
because how do you write all of the twists?
Just like, yeah, he falls into like 10 dreams for 40 minutes. That's the description.
There's about 15 minutes of plot setup, and then there's about an hour of just random twists.
That make no sense. But they're welcome.
But they're enjoyable. I think that's why this is so much better than like any time these fake outs are used once is they don't give a fuck. They're just used them to be ridiculous. Whereas every time it's like, oh, what a twist. Did you see that shit coming? And it's like, yeah, I kind of did. Whereas this time, there's so many of them. At this point, you just stop saying them coming and you stop giving a shit if they make no sense.
Yeah. So it's time to get into the most important segment of the show, the Wikipedia summary. For those of you who aren't aware, Wikipedia is an online encyclopedia used by men to figure out what the fuck things are. Anything from figuring out what the color orange is to figuring out what the fuck brain dead is. Today we're going to be using it to go over the plot, and usually we say if it's not in the Wikipedia plot summary, it does not matter. But in this case, there isn't a lot of plot summary, so I guess it does matter if it isn't in there. So we're going to try its best. So, starting off, Dr. Rex Martin's at the top, a neurosurgeon who is active in studying brain malfunctions that cause mental illnesses. Also, the idea of paranoia is so just like wrong.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it gets like something right, which is the fact that you're just like the basic sense of the word paranoia, which is just to be like on edge constantly, thinking everyone is out to get you. But it gets everything else wrong. Which I think is just endearing in the weirdest way, that it's just so wrong that it becomes like
it's so wrong you can't even be offended by it.
Yeah.
It's just like, you fucking tried, I guess. Good job.
high school friend Jim Rustin, a successful businessman at Eunice, requires Martin's aid in reaching the mind of John Halsey, a former genius mathematician who once worked for a company and is now paranoid psychotic at a nearby asylum.
I guess they just had never heard the word schizophrenia before.
Yeah, because that's what this is for the most part.
That's what,
it's just like trip outs inside trip outs.
It's delusions, mild hallucinations, and paranoia, which is, what schizophrenia basically is. And I guess they just had never heard that term before, so they just called it paranoia.
Also, Dr. Rex Martin. Actually, I'm changing what our last segment is. So keep that in mind.
Okay.
I have a new idea. Remind me that I changed it.
Okay. Why don't we just do both?
Okay, we'll do both later on. But Dr. Rex Martin, he has this weird relationship with brains where he treats them like they're people. So he's all these bunch of jars, and he talks to them. Also, there's this weird face rig thing.
Yeah, that is like on the...
It's on the poster.
It's on the poster. It's on the fucking Blu-ray cover and everything.
Why'd you get that when I could just be like, boom?
Fair.
I forgot to do that earlier. I probably should be prepared with the posters.
Yeah, but so like it has like they put so much like emphasis on this brain rig. It's literally shown at the very beginning and then never mentioned again.
What is it?
I don't know.
Is it like a real person's face that they put onto?
I think it's supposed to be like it's a.
Or is it like a fake face?
It's like a fake face attached to the brain, to where like you can see where like when they hit like a synapse, like what's it triggering on like the facial.
And please tell me that it exists in real life.
It does not.
Oh, damn it.
Also, like I'm just trying to figure out.
How do you know? You're not a neurosurgeon.
That's true. But with how much emphasis they placed on this thing and how fucking weird it is, why wasn't it utilized more?
And why isn't there like an army of these things?
Yeah, like
I want to see.
why at no
20 of
point
these
did
things.
fucking Bill Pullman turn into like this for like a brief segment? That would have been interesting and cool. That's like my one complaint about the film is this thing is so fucking weird and it's just there once and then never mentioned again.
The fact that like we're not getting like 4 hours of just what that is. Like this doesn't turn into a Reanimator plot where it's just like the villain is that.
Yeah,
That's kind of disappointing.
It's a little disappointing.
This weird face rig.
Especially like the first time I watched this movie, because I've seen it a couple times now. I like saw the like thing. I was like, yeah, like when's it coming back? When's it coming back? And I got to the end and I was like, fuck, it never came back.
It was just really cool visual when they just put it in the film for some reason. But yeah, the Dr. Martin has this thing with brains, and he just treats them like people.
He treats them better than people. Like, let's be honest.
And I'll get into a final segment later on. But Dr. Martin's surgery is intended to be successfully alter the patient's mental attitude, either unlocking the corporate secrets within Halsey's brain or leaving Halsey unable to accidentally share them with anyone else. As Martin begins the surgery procedure, also forgets the part where he gets hit by a car.
Yeah,
that's very important.
Pretty crucial.
Where a homeless person thinks he's carrying his brain, when in reality it's just a random brain he's
like
taking
an
home.
actual like summary. This is like the type of like summary you get on like IMDb. This isn't like an actual like full plot discussion.
Yeah, there wasn't anything else.
Yeah,
I checked IMDb. I didn't see anything. It was usually pretty short.
So we'll have to discuss the film's plot ourselves.
Actually, there's notes on here that are important. I can't throw it away.
There's other things here. Do you want to just finish this and then we'll go into the actual...
As Martin begins surgical procedure, she starts to experience the same paranoid dreams as Halsey. The episode grows in intensity until it becomes... The episodes, I read an episode like it was a giant TV show.
Yeah.
The episodes grow in intensity until it becomes unclear whether Martin is a doctor imagining he's the patient or a mental patient who succumbed to the delusion that was a brain surgeon. Martin floats further and further from reality, caught between his loyalty to his business qualities and his own humanity. It doesn't even mention the ending.
Yeah, so
I guess Wikipedia was wrong this time.
Wikipedia fucking dropped the ball.
So we need to fix it.
So, let's do our best on our own this time to discuss the plot of the film.
Okay.
So,
car hit. He got hit by a car.
Oh no, there's more before this. So we have Bill. Bill 1. We have main Bill. Bill Prime.
Bill Prime.
Bill Prime. Bill Prime is a neurosurgeon working with brains. Like you said, he treats them better than people. He gets approached by Bill 2, Bill Derivative. And Bill Derivative says, hey, do this thing because Halsey was this great mathematician, has these numbers we need. He went nuts and murdered his family. And so he's like, yeah, cool, whatever. Boom, car hits him as he's leaving work that day.
Because a homeless person tried to take his brain.
Yeah. This is where we get the first twist where we ignore... Twist number 1. We ignore that he gets hit for a while, and it goes back into his office where one of his colleagues is like preparing to move in because like his grant got doubled and he's going to take over his space, and he's offering to buy his brains. Like, they're not just brains, they're people, they're lives, and then like they're souls, each and every one of them. And then like this colleague's like assistant like knocks over all the shelves and destroys all the brains, and he wakes up from that dream. Twist number 2. And so he's like, oh no, he was like, I had a bad dream. He was like, probably just a thing from the accident. And his wife's like, what accident? He was like, was that in my dream too? Twist number 3 is we don't know if the accident's real or not. So then that moves on, and then he goes and talks to Halsey for a bit. Halsey reveals that in his paranoia he's being chased by Coughlin, who he believes to be his employer and who also he believes to murder his wife, and to be constantly following him around. And he's black and white and red all over, which just means he's a white guy wearing a white suit covered in blood. I don't know where the black came from. Whatever. And so, like,
Maybe he sees him like in animated form and he has these thick cell lines.
maybe. I don't know. That would have been a cool visual. But so then he goes on and he talks to him for a bit, and then him and Bill Prime and Bill Derivative decide to do their experimental surgery to go into his brain and remove the part of his brain that's like swollen or deformed to create the paranoia. He does this, but like right after the procedure's done, he then starts seeing Coughlin standing around with a knife, ice pick type thing covered in blood, looking like he's about to stab himself in the fucking hand. He never does it because he's a fucking wuss.
He's a wuss.
He's a fucking wuss.
See, if you're a real serial killer, you stab yourself in your own hand.
Yeah, if you're a real psychotic, delusion, a serial killer that's actually a delusion, you stab yourself in the hand just to really drive the point
you can't
home.
feel anything because you're a delusion.
Yeah. But so then Bill Prime is invited to dinner with Bill Derivative and the CEO of Eunice, which is the company that Bill Derivative works for, and I guess technically that Bill Prime works for because that's where his funding for his brain research came from.
So it's just this huge megacorp that's essentially trying to look into having Bill Prime's work of brain surgery be done to just
as like a cosmetics, basically. The same way as like plastic surgery can go in and get your personality altered.
You think they would be doing that already with lobotomies?
Well, no, because lobotomies pretty much just leave your brain dead, like 90% of the time. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But so then he goes to dinner, but his paranoia delusions are getting worse. He thinks that his wife, who was just like behind him in her car, was like following him and like chasing him down. And then he keeps seeing Coughlin everywhere. And so he turns into a drunk mess and insults the CEO. And then Bill Derivative is like, "You fuck this one up, you piece of shit." That's not his exact words, but like that's the same premise.
I think that may have been the exact words. Sounds pretty close to what it was.
So then Bill Prime drives home, and somehow, despite leaving before his wife and Bill Derivative, Bill Prime gets there after his wife and Bill Derivative.
Who are there murdered.
Yeah, all the while Coughlin is like constantly being seen on the road hitchhiking, except for the one time when he's seen in his car, only to then disappear again. So he gets to his house, he can't lock his door. There's fucking Coughlin standing over there, like inviting him to look in to see his wife fucking Bill Derivative, and then Coughlin fucking stabs him in the eyes with a lobotomy like pick. And so then that starts like another twist where like
He wakes up
in the hospital. And now he is Halsey, technically, where they tell, like, Coughlin is now his doctor, and his doctor's telling him that Halsey was made up in his brain, and that he is actually the same thing as Halsey, and that he was the mathematician.
Yeah.
But then it's also changed where he's also Coughlin's prized accountant, but also the mathematician, and then it's confusing. And so then, like, Halsey isn't real, but then eventually Halsey is real, and Halsey hides in the closet while Coughlin comes in, and he opens the closet. Halsey's fucking dead. Then he wakes up again. Halsey comes back in. Yeah. And then he's like, "I'm going to go hide in the closet." And he's like, "No, don't do that shit." And so he does, but then he gets up. Then he looks at his body lying there in a fucking coma. And then his wife and Bill Derivative come back in. And they're like, "Oh, man, I'm so sad." And he's like, "Get your fucking hands off my wife, you piece of shit." But he can't say anything because he's a fucking space ghost. And then he fucking walks into the closet, falls off, and he's like, "Oh God, what the hell is this shit? Why is the closet now a fucking sky?" And then fucking Bill Derivative comes and stands on Bill Prime's fucking hands while he's hanging there, which makes him fall into the fucking ocean where he meets Halsey. And Halsey's like, "I can't get her in here. This is my brain, but you can't." Then a fucking monster eats Halsey, proving him fucking wrong. And then, like, Bill Prime's just, like, fucking swimming. Next thing you know, he wakes up outside the restaurant where he had dinner with the CEO.
How much you remember this is, like, I'm trying to piece it together, and it doesn't make any fucking sense to me, but the fact that you're able to have this good a memory is, I don't know, it's spectacular. Keep going.
So he wakes up on the fucking curb outside the restaurant where he pissed off the CEO and Bill Derivative, getting buckets of water thrown in his face. He walks back to his office where he discovers that the office says Halsey on it instead of fucking whatever the fuck Bill's name, Rex or something. And so then he's getting chased down by like these goons who are trying to get Halsey, and he finds himself in an elevator. Some guy keeps calling him Halsey, like, "I'm not fucking Halsey! Say it!" He like grabs him by the car, puts him up against the fucking wall of the elevator. And so then that keeps going. Then he like goes back to the hospital and he's like, "This is my office." And then Coughlin doctor is like, "No, this isn't my office." Like, "No, it's my office. It's like on the 8th floor of a building. It's got a high-rise view." And he's like, "Well, open the fucking window, dumbass." And he opens the fucking window, just fucking like the doctor's office, like the green grounds where all the like pages going. So that keeps fucking going. And then eventually he wakes up again after a bunch of other random ass twists. And he's just fucking lying in the hospital bed with the worst fucking prosthetics ever used. His head looks like it's fucking twice.
Which is funnier. They had different prosthetics earlier, and they look better.
And they looked good when they did them on Halsey, but when they do them on Bill Prime, they look bad. And so, like, he's lying here. It's like, okay. So
it's like they use the same ones, but his head is bigger, so it's shrunk.
But so, yeah. So they're doing, like, brain surgery on Bill Prime because it turns out he was actually hit by the car. And this has all been in his fucking crazy ass brain while he's like in a coma or some shit trying to like come back to life. They're like, well, time to go to surgery, you dumbass bitch.
And then it cuts to him walking in the hospital
with the bad prosthetic in the hospital. Also, like, I'm pretty sure you can see Bill Derivative and his wife as other patients, and Halsey's a doctor this time. He goes into the thing, pulls open his fucking head, and there's a bunch of fucking butterflies in it. Cut back, he's still in the fucking hospital having brain surgery done, and you're like, oh, well, he's fucking dead. Good thing he didn't feel the goddamn pain, I guess. And then there's a butterfly sitting on his fucking forehead.
So it's not over.
Surgery. So it's not over. Then it fucking cuts. He's a goddamn brain in a jar. So what the fuck happened? Was he real? Did he ever exist? I don't fucking know. But on the brain, it has his name. It says Paranoia. Because that's what he had the whole goddamn time. Another fucking twist. Too many goddamn twists.
I didn't read the Paranoia thing.
Yeah.
I guess it wasn't.
And he's just like, am I real? Am I a brain?
And then he said, this could be interesting.
This could be interesting. And it was. It was just hard as fuck to follow.
This could be interesting in the sense that he's really excited that he's a brain now because he can do so many brain things like not stare.
Like be poked and prodded while a face faints.
Not be poked and prodded, but most of the time just float in there and the juices.
Yeah.
The brain juices.
The gelatin.
But... yeah, that's the summary. I think it's better than Wikipedia. It had a lot more fucks in it and a lot more primes than I remember, but it was pretty good. So, in summary, it's a lot of twists and turns to the point where it just becomes so insane that it's terrific.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
You stop caring if the twists make sense and you're just along for the bullshit.
It's
ride.
like in the beginning, I felt like the sound was off more. It's off through the entire thing, but it's off more and it gets more noticeable. But as film goes on, I feel like I'm able to lose sense of the film.
Giving a shit
because the film gets better and better with each twist, and the narrative of this thing is so stupid and fun that it actually makes the lo-fi sense of it better.
Yeah.
Also, the ending credit music with the synthwave, with the clips of the film being played. With the audio of the film being distorted and sometimes stretched out and slowed down over the synthwave beat is terrific.
10 out of 10 soundtrack.
10 out of 10 soundtrack. That's the one song on the thing, pretty much. But yeah, that's it. We're going to go into some Google reviews. Just kidding, there isn't any. But,
fooled you.
But it has an 80...
what a twist.
That's the twist. No Google reviews. But it does have an 82% of people who did like this movie. That is less than Silent Hill. It's less percent of people like...
My one hope for that percentage is that people got confused and thinking they were rating the Silent Hill game, the first one, and not the movie. That's my one hope for that percentage.
No. Silent Hill at 89%, I'm pretty sure. Also, IMDb, which we're going to get into right now, which is Internet Movie Data Bill. Bill keeps all the movies.
Yep.
He has all of them. But
Bill's.
also, users can leave reviews
on Bill's movies.
On Bill's movies and what in his catalog they don't and do like. It currently has a 6 out of 10, and that is less than Silent Hill. Silent Hill has like a 6.6, I think.
Why do people like Silent Hill?
I don't know.
What the fuck?
It has about... no, Silent Hill's not confusing. Silent Hill's confusing in the sense that I just wanted it to stop.
It's confusing on, like, why did you choose to make it this bad when you had so many things to pull from that could have made it good?
Yeah, so we're going to go over some user reviews, what people thought about the movie, because we explained what we liked. Now it's time for other people to share their things. So Blacklash 007, we can't all do good, but at least do no harm. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Brain Dead, where do I begin? One could easily go crazy thinking about this movie. Brain Dead was written by the late Charles Beaumont.
Belmont. It's pronounced Beaumont.
Belmont.
Belmont.
Belmont. The man responsible for some of my favorite Twilight Zone episodes and was directed by Adam Sandler, who did The American Nightmare. It was basically one long chaotic nightmare, and at the same time, one of my favorite films. It's a real head trip where one constant questioning the sanity of the main characters. Is Bill Pullman crazy? Is Bill Paxman out to get Bill Pullman? Should there be two bills be taken? Should the two bills be taken seriously in this movie? Yes, the bills are excellent, and so is the rest of the cast. The film is really made out to take notice of the Bud Court.
Take notice of Bud Court.
Bud Court. He's hilarious as Halsey. If you're up for some serious insanity, give Brain Dead a spin. I gave this movie a 10 on psychological mind bender scale. It ranks up there with Cronenberg's Videodrome. Is that mind bending?
So, this is where I'm going to have to
seen it.
disagree. Yes, this film was crazy fun. But to put it up there of like the mind-bending scale of like a Cronenberg or a Lynch, where it's confusing and mind-bending because of like well thought out like surrealist elements, this is not the same thing. This is confusing because they threw literally every twist they had at it.
Yeah. He also mentions that
The Miskatonic thing.
yeah, the Easter egg I mentioned earlier. 24 out of 26 people found this helpful. Merkel Kranz says, waste of time, 1 out of 10. Even worse than the worst David Lynch Conthusathon. Brain Dead makes no sense whatsoever. Shamefully wasted talent. Bill Pullman and Bill Paxton bounce around like they're in a Tom and Jerry cartoon with acid. I don't
think they've watched Tom and Jerry.
But have you watched Tom and Jerry on acid?
No.
I bet it would be about the same thing, but it'd be really swirly and really loud. I just assumed that.
Mad Max Fury.
No, it'd just be really swirly and really loud. It would be just the cartoon, but your vision's distorted and it would just come through a lot louder than it is. There's a negligible character development. It simply starts climbing the strange style until collapsing into total chaos. Do not get sucked into this because of all other fine actors, they are not given anything to do work with, and you'd be wondering what's going on through the entire unbearable 85 minutes. I highly recommend avoiding Brain Dead at all costs unless you are into scattering your brain with what amounts to total nonsense. Merc. 3 out of 11 found this helpful.
Yeah, that's about right. The
Yeah.
3 out of 11 part.
3 out of 11. 311.
Whoa. Why was it compared to David Lynch? Like, other than like
it's
they're weird.
Because it's weird.
But they're...
David Lynch is weird. And that's what basic bitches think about David Lynch. He's just weird.
That's true.
He's not surrealist. He's weird.
Yeah.
He's just weird.
I feel so bad for David Lynch because, like, none of the other surrealists have to deal with those stupid-ass comparisons, but he was the one that became popular, so he does.
I don't feel bad for David Lynch.
Oh, yeah, I mean, he's the one who became popular.
Because he's fucking rich.
Fair.
He has a charity for translucent, or what is it?
Transcendental meditation.
That's not a real charity.
I've donated to it because it gave me an opportunity to maybe meet David Lynch in real life.
That's not a real charity.
Yeah, oh well.
I'm pretty sure that's a tax shelter.
Probably.
Next one, Billman Blue, bada bee, bada boo. Wanna be Lynchian.
Oh, there it is again.
There it is. Nearly 30 years after its release, I've only just come across Brain Dead. No, not the early Peter Jackson movie, a film starring two of my favorite Bills, Pullman and Paxman. Is there any other notable Bills?
I mean, the next sentence is, despite them possibly being the only Bills I know in the acting industry.
I was surprised that I would
William,
never.
Will Shatner, technically a Bill.
That doesn't count. He's William. And then also, yeah.
I'm gonna just do a quick
Google search of
quick
Bills.
IMDb.
Oh, Bill Hader.
Oh yeah,
He's probably my favorite Bill. I never heard of this film before. However, now I've watched it, I can't say why it's easily forgotten. I really wanted to like it.
Bill Skarsgård. How the fuck would we forget about Bill Skarsgård?
I don't care about Bill Skarsgård.
Bill Murray.
Bill Murray's. I don't know. I like Bill Hader. Bill Murray's like classic. Ghostbusters
Is
all
a
time.
fucking classic.
Classic.
Caddyshack is a fucking classic.
I feel like it would be easier to have a conversation with Bill Hader than Bill Murray.
Probably. Well, no, Bill Murray seems like a nice guy. I've heard he's hard to work with because he like just doesn't tell you if he's going to be on a film until like the day of if he shows up.
That just sounds terrible.
Yeah.
I checked out some of the other reviews online, and it gets a lot of 1-star ratings, and people like to use phrases like, you have to be brain dead to like Brain Dead. I don't agree that's quite that bad, but probably not worth the watch. It's about hearing a review that I'll try to do a brief plot synopsis. However, I'm not entirely sure what the film is even about after watching it. I figured that Bill Pullman played a scientist who experiments on people's brains after they've been removed from someone's body after death. However, there's also times when the experiments on people's brains while they are still people in people's heads.
That was one time, and it was called surgery.
Paxton, on the other hand, plays a delightfully slimy corporate executive. I think it's fair to say there are different elements of horror genre in here. However, I've seen it's listed as science fiction in some places too.
I don't think it would be. I don't think I'd consider this a horror film.
It's not.
No.
It's Goosebumps.
Yeah.
It's a TV movie that was released as a theatrical film. I don't know if it was actually released as a theatrical film.
I think it was.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
If not,
It deserves a big screen.
It deserves a TV release. And I mean that in the positivest way.
Yep.
Despite its minimal budget, it really is no blockbuster. There's actually a couple rather disgusting scenes involving probes entering sort of sensitive organ, clues as to which is on the film's title.
Literally, if you wording it that way makes it sound like they're shoving a probe in someone's dick or like their butt. Like, why? It's a brain. Just fucking say it's a brain. Why the hell did you word it that way?
You can't fit a probe up someone's dick. Unless you have a really small one. Probes are meant for butts. That's why aliens probe us. Because they're trying to get all the goodies. And the goodies are the turds. And they eat them because they're aliens. And they're not humans.
Keep going. I'm done. With
Keep going with that bit?
No. Now,
how aliens eat shit?
No, I'm done with that bit.
No, okay. Although rather than being an outright horror movie, it leans more towards what I always consider Lynchian horror.
No.
I.e. You just put David, Twin Peaks, Mulholland Drive, Lost Highway, Lynch, film, or TV show.
No.
Weird things start happening and the lines blur to what's real and what's imaginary become blurred.
No.
Lynch does
no.
this. This is not even Lynch.
This is not Lynch.
This is Goosebumps.
This is just because something is weird and reality is confused doesn't make it Lynch.
It makes it Goosebumps.
It's
I'm kidding. I'm being sarcastic.
I know you are.
I'm being Bill Sarsgaard-castic.
That was a stretch.
That was a real stretch.
That was bad.
Sargarsdick.
Stop.
Fixed it that time.
Stop.
That time was good.
Stop. But like, no, just be like, oh, it's weird. That's Lynchian. It's a fucking cop-out response. It's like how people used to say Kafka-esque for anything that was weird.
And it's like how I say plethora a lot.
Yeah, like there is... like Kafka-esque is a very specific style of absurdity based around like institutionalized like institutes and like dehumanization and alienation that comes within like bureaucracy. That's a very specific Kafka-esque form of absurdity. Lynchian is a very specific form of surrealism, using like dark like elements, dream imagery, and very heavy use of like contrast and curtains and a showmanship within dreams, like a sense of like dreams as being like a show. It's showy. This is not that.
Yeah. And also a lot of giants. A lot of
backwards talking.
Yeah. A lot of little people.
He'll talk backwards.
And dance really smoothly. I wish I could dance like them.
And the thing is, he's dancing backwards.
I wish I could dance backwards. It probably looks sick as fuck. Yeah. Lynch does this really well, and if you don't understand what he's getting at, you can enjoy one hell of a stylish experience. However, Brain Dead is not directed by David Lynch, therefore what you're left with is a bit of messy tale that tells what's to be a really deep and thought-provoking and ends up being, well, a mess. It's not helped that even though it was released in 1990, it feels like it's used the cheapest video camera ever to shoot on. The film itself looks incredibly cheap, and most of the soundtrack and incidental music feels like the elevator music, probably public domain to begin with.
That's a fair statement. Until the final song.
That's until the final song, which is top notch. But it does look like it was made in the 70s. So
yeah.
Again, the actors do their best with what they're given with, and if you really enjoy total mind-bending tales where you don't know what surreal or imaginary, you can get something out of this. However, if you don't like those sorts of films, and then you definitely seen better, probably from David Lynch. Why is everyone talking about David Lynch?
I don't know. Like they
But also-
mentioned Cronenberg. I'd say Cronenberg's a better comparison.
There's not a Cronenberg. What I associate with Cronenberg, and I know it's the wrong answer, is just body horror.
I mean,
And I know that's wrong.
he mixes body horror and with it, but like,
Yeah.
except for The Fly, which is just body
Because
horror.
when I feel like people use the stereotypical Cronenberg response, they're just referring to the Cronenberg monsters.
Yeah.
And usually they're just referring to what they've seen on Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm an intellectual, I've seen Spider. I'm smart.
I showed you Spider, you mean.
Yeah, Spider's okay.
I will agree, it's not his best.
It's something.
It's no
It's-
Naked Lunch.
It's no. Did you say Naked Lynch?
Naked Lunch.
Oh, I think you said Naked Lynch. It's not David Lynch and bare ass.
It's no Naked Lunch. It's no The Fly. It's no...
It's no bare ass David Lynch. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Only 7 years later, Bill Pullman went on to star in Lynch's Lost Highway. Although divided audiences and was also hard to follow, it was a visual joy to watch, and the sheer brilliance of direction gave it that creepy, menacing vibe that Brain Dead tries for, but fails. It's not a
Brain Dead
one-star.
isn't trying to be creepy or menacing. It's trying to be goofy.
It's just doing dumbass shit. It's not a one-star movie, but it's probably best to gloss over in the scale of things. 0 out of 2 people found this helpful.
Good.
Good. And then finally, from Smith, Butterfly Dreams of Being a Man. The great, is it Taoist?
Taoist.
I always mess that up. Master
Chuang Tzu.
Chongzu. Chongzu. I feel like that's... I always imagine it like it doesn't have an U, so it's just Changzu. I know that's wrong.
Yeah.
I just always think it is. Dreamt that he was a butterfly fluttering here and there. In the dream, he had no awareness of his individuality as a person. He was only a butterfly. Suddenly, he awoke from himself, laying there, a person once again. But then he thought to himself, was I before a man who dreamt of being a butterfly, or now am I a butterfly who dreams of being a man? This quote is used in the film and clearly illustrates the basic of the brilliant screenplay. The claustrophobia, not knowing reality imagined, is very real in this film. Earlier acts by Bill Pullman and Bill Paxman make for a real viewing pleasure, but the real star of the film is Bill Court, who plays Harold from the film Harold Ma?
Yeah.
Yeah. Set designs and lighting make for a fine surreal experience. It's not really surreal. It's just... Is it surreal?
Not really.
It's not. It just kind of...
It's twisty. That doesn't... Like, it uses dreams and it uses a lot of
that would
twists,
make it
but that's...
absurd.
No.
It's not. No, because it
No.
doesn't really have any statements, unless it's just like don't mess with people's brains.
Like, and it's not really absurd.
I think that's the message.
Because like it has like a very clear form of logic that it follows. What it doesn't follow logically is like what
Is
just,
not
it's just a bunch
logical.
of twists.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's like a couple like elements of surrealism and absurdity in there, but I wouldn't call the thing as a whole surrealist
Yeah.
or absurd.
This movie is a great one with a fine story, fine actors, fine cinematography, special effects, and direction.
Okay, the special effects are garbage. The green screen when he's hanging off the door and like you can see where it's like cutting off parts of his hair and it's like clipping and it was like, ugh.
Oh, I thought it was great. I thought it was amazing.
It's amazing because it adds to the campiness and the absurdity of like the film itself.
I think it's great. If I wish it was just all green screen, they didn't put anything else. Just left the green screen. The music sounds like the synths left over from the 80s. Yes, because it is. But adds to the B effect of the film. Highly recommended. 19 out of 25 people found this helpful. And yeah, that's what people think about this film. He wasn't wrong, and everything besides it's surreal. It's not.
Yeah.
But the sets and designs make for a fine surreal experience because they're just bad.
Yeah, God, those are some cheap ass production designs.
Yeah. Is it good?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's enjoyable.
Where is it? Is it B?
Let's say like a B,
Yeah.
high C,
Yeah.
low B, high C.
B.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's fun, but it's fun and sometimes in a way where it's like you question how much of it was intentional and how much of it was just kind of accidental.
You could say it's a scenario where it's like if you give a bear 1,000,000 typewriters, one of them is going to write Hamlet or whatever.
Yeah.
And at some point, but also don't discredit this film for how much fun I had it.
Yeah,
Even
tons
though
of fun.
it wasn't intentional.
It's fun, and sometimes it feels like it's almost Wicker Man fun, but it's not as bad as Wicker Man fun.
Okay.
There's legitimate fun out of this that comes from the movie itself.
Okay. You ready?
Sure.
For two final terrible segments? These are
terrible
segments that are just supposed to be bad, just to close off the show, because they're just memes, I guess.
We're joking
So
around.
I had a original one planned, which we're going to do right now, and I have a bonus one. Because
Okay.
I think the bonus one's really important. That should be the main closer.
Okay.
What would your first one? What would your dream loop be? What would you be stuck with the nightmares of?
I have to keep listening to Logic.
That
That's my nightmare loop.
I think my nightmare loop is that I didn't kill my wife.
Jesus.
or a nightmare loop where Bill Paxton isn't creepy.
No, what my nightmare loop is car accident, same thing, but it's one of the car accidents while I was listening to Logic to prepare for the music review. And because of that, now Logic is like constantly stuck in like the air around me, but it's like slightly slowed down and distorted. So all I have is the shittiness of Supermarket, but for eternity.
Oh god, that just sounds terrible. Okay, actual final segment.
Okay.
Most important question. Does he fuck the brains? Because it implies that he kind of does.
I don't think he fucks them. I think he maybe gropes them a little bit when they're out.
Does he come? And if so, how much?
I'm gonna go with
Are we
no.
just doing
I'm gonna go
pre-cum?
with no.
No, he doesn't.
Oh, maybe a little pre-cum.
So yeah, in my book, for something that doesn't have any holes, that might be close as the sex as you can get. A little bit of pre-cum. So that might be just sex in that scenario, because there are no orifices in the brain unless you want to insert one on your own.
I really hope Boone stops before he listens to this segment.
It's an important question because like it's implied he has that relationship, and I was thinking about this when
He seems closer with the brains than he does with his wife, so it's a fair statement. Maybe that's why she's channeling him as Bill derivative.
I don't think she is. I don't think it's implied. I think they're just like friends.
No, I think she is. She should be.
Should be
Yeah.
because he's creepy.
Because if he's fucking his goddamn brains, like
If that's scenario, or if that's just something I just made up.
yeah, if it's real though, he has a come.
Yeah. Is it a film?
No. Because what is anything? Is this reality? Is this a film?
You keep on using that response, and it's not good.
Did I watch the film?
Or is the film watching us?
Yeah. Did I?
Am I a
dream about
butterfly?
watching the film?
Am I a butterfly watching the film, or am I film watching a butterfly?
I don't know. All I know is this might be reality, and if it is, yeah, it's a film.
Yeah. And that's it. That's it for this episode of Is It a Film? Until next time, guys, make sure you follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all at Is It a Film. You can find us on YouTube at Is It a Film, and you can support us monetarily through Patreon, which is $20. We'll review any film of your choosing. Patreon.com/The Anthony and Todd Show.
$90, we can start doing our podcast on our own thing.
$90. If you donate $90, Jonathan will fuck a brain.
I will not. fuck a
Jonathan
brain.
will shave his head.
I fucking will not do that.
Jonathan will shave the brain.
That I'll do.
I'm just imagining it. It's just like how, just like you destroy putty.
But imagine like we do that and actual hair comes off.
I think we started a market for brain hair.
Yeah.
You just take a little bit of it off, and then you do something with it. I bet it has a good
Mix it into your soda. Brain juice.
brain juice. But yeah, until next time, guys, I'm Vincent.
Now, Jonathan.
And this is probably our worst episode ever, but I really enjoyed it.
Yep, worst episode ever. Thanks, Boone.
Thanks, Spoon. See you guys.